started when the idea came up when I was at Mount St. Michael's, and Father C.M. Buckley was at Mount St. Michael's, and he was one of the professors that lived there, and he had been to France and studied in France, and he, I believe, participated in the Chartres pilgrimage, where people came from all different directions and ended up at the Chartres Cathedral. And so it was his idea to initiate something like that at Gonzaga. And then several of us at Mount St. Michael's kind of picked up the idea. John Lyra was one of the key people, and he helped organize it. And as I remember, it was mostly word of mouth or placing flyers around Gonzaga, which is how we attracted the students to participate in it. So there were a couple priests at Mount St. Michael's, the Jesuit students, or the Jesuit, what we called the juniors at the time, and Gonzaga students. So I participated in the first one, and I just remember there being an excitement around the idea of the pilgrimage. I think, like many pilgrimages, some people, I think, participated because of the religious and spiritual idea around it, and some people participated just for the opportunity to hike for 2 days around the beautiful Idaho countryside. And I think that was probably both of those draws were probably true for most of us. At the end of the first day, it was exciting. We were, sore and tired, and walked into the place where we spent the night. And there was a campfire and a dinner ready for us, and kind of a candlelight dinner. That was one of the highlights of the whole experience. Well, as I remember, it was a 2-day pilgrimage. We hiked about 15 miles each day. So by the time we finished, we were tired and sore and blistered. In the end of that first day, we started off hiking. I don't remember where we started, but we bused to the starting point. So it was a total of 30 miles away from the pilgrimage. So I didn't start at Gonzaga University, of course. But we organized into small groups and kind of rotated around those small groups. So 3 or 4 people hiked together and talked about, we had different topics that we discussed. I remember that. I don't remember the topics. I remember quickly getting off those topics and just talking among ourselves about all kinds of different things. I think that the idea of a pilgrimage is to start off with a goal in mind. So you're hiking towards this goal. So that's kind of in the back of your mind the whole time. There were, as I said, some topics of conversation that we, in my memory, briefly touched on. But mainly my memory is simply doing the walk and getting to know the people who were a part of the walk. And so the spiritual side of it was the goal at the end of the first day, where we had that dinner waiting for us. And then during the second day, the anticipation of the goal of getting to the mission started to kind of loom more in our mind as a goal. So I think it's a lot like life, where you end up with a goal and you gradually sort of trudge towards that goal, and it's not in your mind the whole time, but you're always paying attention to that goal during the day. And regardless of what kind of conversation you're having, you're reminded constantly that we're moving towards this goal of achieving this the goal that we set for ourselves, and walking for 2 days to get there. I remember the lanyard we had that had a green footprint on it. And I saw some pictures of both the first and second pilgrimage had that. And I remember paying attention to that footprint often and seeing it on other people, and everybody had that. And that was a reminder each time you looked at that we're taking these steps towards this goal. And the spirituality of it was kind of imminent, or kind of always present. And I think that's something that we took along in life afterwards, where you set a kind of a spiritual goal, whether that's your vocation or whether that's listening to God's call in your life, and kind of always being aware of that at the back of your mind. It's not always present, but it's always there to be called up to your consciousness simply by thinking about it. I think it's very rare now to have that opportunity of spending an entire day without your cell phone, without being in touch with the kind of instant presence you have with your friends on Facebook. And so I think it's really important to stop and take time out, whether that's simply being outside, or in this case, being outside with that goal of the spiritual journey in front of you. I think I would encourage students to really take advantage of that opportunity to focus for an entire day on something that isn't always there in front of you.